The only time you're stuck is because you are scared of something. You are either scared of something, or you are either trying to fight something or internally, or you haven't changed your relationship yet with it. So you've got all of that going on from various angles, and that's what's keeping you stuck. But it takes a long time to realize that, embody that, and really feel that. Okay, it took me a long time. Okay, it wasn't something that I just quick fixed like that. You could say you took me back now to say 20 years old, and you just put out in front of me the books on our reading list and said, go and read them. How quickly am I going to recover? That didn't work like that. I had to read those books quite a few times. I had to put in tons of exposures. Now, not everyone needs to do a lot of exposures. Some people don't even really need to do any exposures, because a lot of, for other people, it's about their relationship with their thinking and so on, and it's different for different people. But it's not a quick fix. And do you know what really made a difference was surrendering to that? Realizing that, hey, even if this took 5, 10, 15, 20 years, like not 20 years, let's not exaggerate that too far. Let's say even if this takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, in the scheme of my life, that's not that big a deal, right? And I once I did that gave up a lot of that pressure, that internal pressure of where I was like, I've got to be fixed now. I've got to have this finished now. I've got to get this all done. This has all got to be sorted, because that's what was fueling so much of it. Like I was literally like, it's my responsibility to have this all fixed and done and finished tomorrow. It's my responsibility to be on top of this right now. And it was that was keeping me so damn stuck, because I was so utterly focused on having everything gone, my recovery all sorted, and being on top of absolutely everything that was detrimental, because I was putting so much internal pressure, and that's not going to help with anything. It's like if you're learning to competitive run and you're sort of thinking of every step to like absolute precision and completely focused and not sort of going with the flow of it, or trying to paint a painting without sort of getting into it, just painting and thinking every brush perfectly, you're going to probably do the most overly controlled, ridiculous sort of structure setup to what you're trying to do. It's not going to be very helpful. It's not going to be very beneficial for you at all. So, life, it's like with creative process. Creative process is taking a step back and thinking, okay, let's allow whatever to happen here. Let's allow it to work freely and experience this and see how this stuff goes. And that was so key to anything. It's like when I do all these tweets and I write about OCD, I'm not just sort of sitting there like, you've got to write, you've got to do this, you've got to make sure that you get this information out, and like sort of hammering it that way. That's the worst way to write. And like anyone who's written, who's done a lot of writing or anything like that, will say like you'll get complete mental block if you're trying to approach things like that. So that's definitely what I wasn't trying to do. What I do is like I'll sit out on my balcony in the evening, I'll sit there and I'll think about writing them, sort of just trying to be creative and going along at my own pace. Sometimes I'll sit there with a glass of wine. Sometimes I'll look up at the sky and think about it and think about my journey and reflect on that. That's what I do, because that's what it makes it come to me, the thinking, instead of me going to it. One of my sort of inspirations in a lot of life is a man called Ray Dalio, who wrote an amazing book called Principles. And he was talking about, when he's a big believer in transcendental meditation, he was saying like some of his best ideas for life and everything comes to him through that, just by allowing that to come in and enter into his mind. And so many great writers or people succeeding in any areas of life often say things like, you often hear quotes of people saying like, I swim 1 or 2 hours a day, and like literally when I'm swimming all my ideas come to me, or when I'm jogging my ideas come to me. We think we've got to sort of fight to go towards it, but it's actually the opposite, especially with creative process. It's sort of allowing those things to come in as we're going through life.